The reason that so many productions have moved out of Hollywood is that Hollywood is just very expensive to make content. So movie makers look globally to determine where they can best produce their product, most cost effectively, most efficiently, most safely, all those sorts of things. And you know, it's interesting that Australia is seen by American movie makers as the 5th most desirable location for their movie making.
But the US president has pointed out the large incentives being extended for big budget productions in Australia. Just one of them includes the federal government's location offset scheme, a rebate of some 30%. Does Donald Trump have a point that it is an uneven playing field?
Look, it's certainly true that there are incentives for movie makers to make their movies in Australia. We also see state governments investing in infrastructure to improve the capacity or to make it more efficient to produce movies here on the Gold Coast. Of course, we've seen the Marvel movies and others. Other state governments have done similar work, similar investment to encourage movies to Australia. But it's not just about the American movie makers. When they come to Australia, they employ local people. People are upskilled. There's technology transfer. It's a great way for the Australian industry really to up their capacity to really be better movie makers going forward.
If executed, would 100% tariffs upend Australia's film sector?
100% tariffs would certainly dramatically impact the Australian movie sector or screen producers sector. It would make making film here significantly less attractive to Americans. But you know, the dumb bit is, if that meant that those American movie producers, screen producers, went back to Hollywood, that would put their costs up significantly. If the costs go up for those movie producers because they're producing out of Hollywood, then the cost to consumers will go up too. So everyone's a loser.
Is it even clear how such tariffs would apply, given the very complex way films are now made across international boundaries?
Look, we have no idea how this could work. I'm at the Screen Producers Australia conference here on the Gold Coast, and many of us have been having round tables and talking about this. Nobody can work out how you do it, and very little of this industry is in one country. So you'd regularly get a scenario where the script might come out of the UK, the location might be Australia, some of the techno input might come out of the US or Asia. It's not one place where a movie is written, produced, directed, you know, all of the things that go into a movie. It doesn't happen in one country.
As you say, you've got deal makers in the room on the Gold Coast this week. What are they saying about whether Trump's threat is likely to delay decisions on some projects now as the industry awaits more details?
It's certainly true that those people who are involved in consultations with regard to a new project or are in early days of a new project are saying, well, if this really went ahead, it'd change the economics of a project totally. So I think they're probably sitting back and saying, we just want to see where this goes, what actually happens with this. But we think that the US movie makers will push back as well, because they don't want their costs to go up.
Let me ask you this. Does this illustrate that the Australian film sector has become too dependent on serving the US film industry?
I think what it shows is that there needs to be some legislation that the Labor Party promised in their last stint in government, and that is the streamers need regulation in Australia. Part of the solution here to make the Australian industry more resilient, stronger, is to put in place streaming regulation to require the streamers to put a percentage of the revenue they make in Australia to local productions. And that's, the basis of the industry.
Kate Carnell, good to speak to you.
Thank you, Kristen.